What is going on, everybody? I hope you're having a good week so far. So, Tekken 8 has finally dropped, and I tried it out on the ROG Ally. And for the most part, I was pleasantly surprised how well this game looked and played on this handheld device. Similar to Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8 doesn't really need a lot of optimization and tweaking to work very well on the ROG Ally. And for the most part, you can get a good amount of battery life from Tekken 8 as well as damn near perfect quality and performance. And the settings are pretty simple. You can set the overall quality from low to ultra. And the first thing I tried was ultra at 25 watts in turbo mode. But you can actually plug in the system and put it to 30 watts, and it actually plays very well in ultra if you set FSR2 to balanced. Now, of course, most people are wondering and focusing on the fact that you can play the system handheld, and for the most part, that is what I tested. And naturally, 30 watts can pretty much play almost anything for the ROG Ally. And I found the best settings for the ROG Ally to be 20 watts at high settings with FSR2 set to balanced. I found that to be the most comfortable settings, with the frame rate hovering around 50 to 55 FPS and the resolution at 1080p. And for the most part, there weren't many slowdowns while setting this game to high. Now, of course, you can tweak the game a little more and set most of the settings to ultra, like textures, effects, pretty much everything but shadows, setting the shadows to high and FSR2 to balanced while keeping the resolution scaling at 80%. You can get pretty much a consistent 45 to 55 FPS in most locations, but there are a few slowdowns while setting most of the graphical settings to ultra. And I found that this game was difficult to optimize only when you touch the ultra settings. Now, when you first start it with any game on the ROG Ally in Windows, it's going to compile shaders. And of course, while compiling shaders, the game will lag a great deal while it's starting up. So that first intro might give you a few lags here and there, but after that, and after the initial startup, in order to decrease lag as much as possible, you're going to need as much VRAM as possible. So setting the VRAM to 8 gigabytes will be the best option for Tekken 8. But of course, in terms of quality and performance, setting the TDP to 20 and most settings to high will be the optimal choice here, with the resolution of course set to 1080p, because since we have an ROG Ally, why would we want to go any lower? But focusing more on the battery life while playing Tekken 8 on the ROG Ally, naturally, placing the resolution around 720p to 900p will give you better performance, with the TDP set to 15 watts. And the quality can be set to high only as long as you set the VRAM to 8 gigabytes like you did while setting the game to 1080p. Most of what matters while playing Tekken 8 on the ROG Ally is the VRAM. So turning off CPU boost might help the performance and the lag just a little bit. And of course, Tekken 8 is a newer title, so as long as there aren't any new updates yet, the game is not going to be as optimized as we would want it. So 15 watts is pretty much the lowest you can put the ROG Ally while putting the resolution to 900p and the game's quality to high. But overall, Tekken 8 plays exceptionally well. And I played most of the storyline. Everything seems to be running perfectly on the ROG Ally, especially when I set the VRAM to 8 gigabytes. But for the most part, I like to play in high settings at 1080p with the TDP set to 20 watts on the go. And I find that to be the most optimal way to play Tekken 8 for the most part. Now, of course, you're going to see some gameplay here and there showcasing exactly how the game plays with different wattages. And I'm going to highlight all the different TDP settings as well as the graphical settings, so you can get a better idea exactly how well Tekken 8 is optimized for this handheld and just Windows in general. You don't need to go to any Proton settings or install any background processes to make the game run 10% better. Tekken 8 just runs on the ROG Ally. And of course, there were some recent updates to Windows, so you have to make sure to update Windows completely, as well as going to My ASUS and updating all of your drivers to the appropriate versions. And of course, going into Armory Crate and making sure Armory Crate is the most up-to-date version it can possibly be in order to play all of the newest Windows titles like Tekken 8 as well as they possibly can be played. And I found after updating Windows, there was around a 2 to 5% increase in performance for Tekken 8, but I haven't updated Windows in about 10 weeks. I postponed it over and over again to the point that it forced me to make updates. And of course, Windows updates can be a pain in the ass, and I completely understand if you don't want to update. I mean, a 2 to 5% increase in performance isn't really that great if you're thinking about whether you should update Windows or not. I don't think that low a percentage should be considered while updating something like Windows. And of course, Windows 11 updates rather smoothly, but it changes a few settings every time it updates. So if you customize your Windows perfectly, like your security settings and all that, usually updating Windows will change a few of these settings and change the defaults to them. So that is a huge pain in the butt, and I'm not sure if anybody likes Windows updates. If you do, you're possibly a masochist, because these updates are very painful for anybody. But besides that, Tekken 8 is an exceptional fighting game for Windows, and especially the ROG Ally. I've had such an incredible time playing this game, and I think Tekken 8 plays a lot better than Tekken 7. The combat is a lot smoother, the specials can be performed easier, and I just find everything to be more up to date in Tekken 8, especially the graphics. The graphics are just incredible. Not as great as I would expect from the first Tekken 8 trailer, but in the storyline, the graphics are simply incredible. I haven't beat this game yet, so I couldn't put it on my list for the top 10 fighting games for the ROG Ally, especially since I made that before Tekken 8 came out. But I'm just so stoked to continue this game on the ROG Ally and the handheld, and wherever I go, like taking a train or a plane, it's just going to be incredible to play this game on the go, truly. And of course, I bought this game, but I also have the third-party version, which is completely offline. So that means I don't have to worry about connecting to the internet before playing it or any kind of other bullshit. I get to play this game truly on the go, as intended, as if it were a Nintendo Switch. But yeah, it's just exciting to have newer titles work this well on this handheld PC. I can't wait to see what else is coming to the fray for this ultimate lineup for the ROG Ally. And I've been building and building to see which are the absolute best games to play on the ROG Ally. And I have quite a list to break down, because there are so many titles that just play perfectly out of the box without any extra liberties taken. And of course, the ROG Ally isn't perfect. There is a certain video I'm working on that highlights this fact. And recently I have had a lot of issues with certain things that have been annoying, but over time, the ROG Ally has mostly been a positive experience for me. And Tekken 8 proves that this handheld does have what it takes to go up against handhelds that are super optimized, like the Steam Deck. With ASUS's sheer dedication and with the ROG Ally's powerhouse-like hardware, it's great to see this contender play Tekken 8 the way it does. And if you haven't played Tekken 8 for the ROG Ally, I highly recommend you check it out. This game is a near masterpiece in terms of fighting games. And the storyline is among the best storylines I've ever played for any fighting game. And that's saying a lot, because Mortal Kombat 11, 10, and 9 had incredible stories. But yeah, let me know what you think about Tekken 8 on the ROG Ally, and if you have optimized it, let me know your settings down below. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Have a good one. Later.